Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Tracy Young. The Boy Scouts was founded almost 100 years ago on February 18th, 1910. And joining us to talk about the organization's century of service and the Long Beach Area Council's 10 Commandments Hike is volunteer Nancy Schwartz. Nice to have you with us, Nancy.
Thank you.
Okay, so both of us have to admit on air, I was a Brownie and a Girl Scout, and yourself?
I was a Brownie and a Girl Scout.
Okay, so we share something in common
Yes.
here. But today we're really talking about the Boy Scouts. And here's an organization that's, basically 100 years old. But I think if I asked people, who are the Boy Scouts and what do they do? I have to admit, I'm not even sure how I would explain it. Would you please speak about it?
The best way that I can answer that is by giving you the 10 points of the Scout Law. A Scout is trustworthy, honest, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And that's 11. I threw in an extra one there. Okay, I'm fired as a volunteer. But all of those things,
Right.
Who would not want their son to be the embodiment of those qualities? And that's what the Boy Scouts teach in a fun way.
Oh, how interesting. And I noticed that you have your uniform on here today because you are a volunteer. So you basically, for free of charge, you're out working with these young men on these different parts of their life.
Yes.
And why is that important to you?
Because when my son was getting into kindergarten, I had a very good friend whose son was just graduating from high school. He'd been accepted to law school, was an Eagle Scout, just the best kid, straight A student. And I said, how did you do it? I want my kid to turn out like yours. And he said two things, our religious organization and the Boy Scouts of America. And I thought, boy, that's for me. I'm going to remember that advice for my own son.
I know I've looked through a number of our astronauts and our presidents, and a lot of leading business leaders have all contributed, basically said the Boy Scouts was an important part of their youth. So let's talk about, this is the third annual 10 Commandments hike. And obviously there's a religious when we say 10 Commandments, but I understand that it's not really about religion, but it's more the bringing together of faith and the understanding. Tell me about this 10 Commandments hike.
I think that it's really an exciting thing to appreciate the religious diversity in our community. And my son, the first year that we did the hike, he was, I think, 10 years old at the time, and the religion editor of the Press Telegram asked to speak to him on the phone. And she said, what did you get out of being in it? Why do you think you're doing this? And I hadn't coached him or anything, but he said, well, you see that other people shouldn't be your enemies. And I thought that was, boy, I couldn't have summed it up any better myself. We go to we listen to 10 different presentations by different clergy or lay ministers from different faiths. Each one gives a 5-minute presentation about one of the 10 Commandments, or if it's a religion, for example, last year we had a Buddhist presenter that did not use the 10 Commandments, but he used a parallel teaching from the Buddhist faith. They give a 5-minute children's sermon about one of the commandments, then 5 minutes to tell the boys and girls a little something about the history of their faith or their beliefs, and then 5 minutes to answer the questions that the boys and girls have.
And do you find that we end up sharing more and actually have more in common than we actually differ?
I would say definitely so, yes.
And I understand this is not just for Boy Scouts, it's for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and there's another organization.
Campfire USA
Girls.
of all ages, and we have kids like as young as little Daisy and Tiger Cubs up through Eagle Scouts and their parents too.
All right, so this is basically Thanksgiving weekend. It's on Friday, November 27th.
Yes.
Starts at 9 in the morning, goes till about 2:30. We have a
Correct.
sack lunch, and we get to spend some time, and we actually get to learn and come together.
Yes.
All righty, well, congratulations. Thank you very much for your volunteer time
Thank
to the
you.
community. It makes a difference.
Thank you, I love it.
For Charter Local Edition, I'm Tracy Young. Now back to CNN, HLN.